Hey, welcome guys back to Musings&Review channel. This is your host Maverick, and today we are watching the finale of Maou-sama Retry. So, it's been a fun journey so far. I certainly have a lot of grievances with this particular adaptation, but what can I say? I like the original work, right? So, I'm determined to see it through, and so now here we are. In terms of this actual episode, I am really looking forward to it because it's going to contain probably one of my favorite misunderstandings that I've seen so far within this work. Now, this is still ongoing, and in fact, the actual series itself, the web novel, light novel, manga, it's actually still fairly early in its stages, right? We really have no idea how it's actually going to play out. This received an adaptation really early, and you know, whether or not it actually helped it or not, we'll discuss that in the ending, right? But, in the discussion portion. But anyways, I'm looking forward to the Misunderstanding here, with Angel White. And, well, I don't think that can really fit an entire episode, so possibly they'll be adding some other stuff, some foreshadowing stuff, in regards to how the series is going to develop in the future. There are actually a few scenes where they haven't adapted yet, which might touch on these subjects. So anyways, let's just get into the episode right now. Alrighty, so this episode actually started out with the opening, and so I skipped that part. I did watch, I don't think anything changed in regards to opening. So, anyways, let's just begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Hey. White Angel and Demon Lord. Ash. This is the men's bath, after all. Yeah, it's actually the men's bath. She's just an airhead. Wait, this... In the manga, he simply invites her to just get in the hot springs. He didn't actually toss her a towel. And you gotta love a main character that, even if internally he's screaming, he still acts very calm and collected and whatnot. Same goes for main MCs of, you know, rom-coms, harems, and whatnot. See, this part doesn't really make sense that much because they didn't actually show the conversation between him and Madame. Are they actually going to voice act this part? I wonder how they're going to treat this part. Of course. If you guys couldn't guess already, the Mao is trying to control his emotions. They're also a lot closer than they are from the manga. That's why she's called Angel Light. Of course, it's an item from... He's just like, meh. And like her. Hey. Angel's Halo. And equipment. How many of you guys have played Ragnarok Online? Well, I'm sure a lot of different MMORPGs or RPGs have this as well. But for me... What? Oh. Oh. Yeah, they left out the explanation that, you know, this is a wearable equipment from a lot of RPGs. Okay, like I said from the last episode, this is actually kind of important. He actually doesn't need to And here we go. She's like, ah, fine. Just give it to you. Come on, say it. Come on, the dialogue here, it really could have been written a little bit better. But yeah, anyways, so the misunderstanding here is that she thinks that Mao is Lucifer, a fallen angel. And that's why he's able to use something like Sarah's Leap, or Bound, I believe they call it here, which apparently can only be used by people with holy powers. And also the angel Halo as well. Like, how many of you guys thought Aku was going to play, you know, be one of the core companions and whatnot? I mean, she is, I'm not saying she isn't, but as I said at the beginning, she plays a lot smaller role than most people thought at first. Yep, he did. And of course. One, two, of course, three. I like how waifu she acts here. Right, and this ties into the you know, why he was talking with Yukikaze last episode. City of Rookie. The naming conventions here. And so, well, that was it. Alright, so they didn't actually talk about anything else. Alright. I like how this ending animation makes no sense, since they never get to any of that part, right? But anyways, well, that was it. I'll see you guys after the ending song. Okay, there's actually a little bit more after the ending song, so let's just see what kind of foreshadowing they're gonna give to us. And begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Huh. Okay. Beginning of next arc. Prince. Oh. Oh. Okay, they actually... Alrighty, and there we go, the ending to Maou-sama Retry, at least to this arc anyways. Of course, the story still continues on, although I highly doubt that they will be animating a second season for this one. And even if they did, I sure hope to God they're choosing some other animation studio, or at least maybe providing a little bit more budget, right? Because it could be a timing and budget issue. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about the episode first, right? And so, as I said, this Misunderstanding is one of my favorites within the series as a whole. You know, the whole part where White sort of mistakes the Mao's identity as Lucifer. Now, of course, through these episodes, it should be clear that, you know, White, or at least this city, the religion that they practice is sort of similar to Christianity. You know, you got the seraphs, the cherubs, and Lucifer, the fallen angel, and whatnot. So it has that kind of take on it. And, well, here, though, it seems that they don't specifically hate Lucifer as much, right? They still consider him a tragic story or whatnot. And so, in this case, due to a misunderstanding with the angel halo and whatnot, and the mass teleport, which actually the Mao is able to use because he comes from another isekai infinity game, they believe he's actually an angel, right? He's able to grant angel auras, angel halos, and also use Seraph's leap, if you will. And that's actually a key misunderstanding here, right? Because, you know, in the past, being misunderstood as a Mao, okay, fine, that's one thing, right? And later on, it seems quite clear that people don't... The Mao, you know, terminology is really more of a... I guess, how should I say it? Sort of like a nickname, instead of like there actually being some kind of demon lord figure, as in something like Overlord or something. But here, now that he actually has this sort of hidden identity, things will get a lot more interesting. And as I said, this entire series really, it's entirely based on misunderstandings, like misunderstanding who the Mao actually, who Kunai actually is, and so. I don't know, to me, that's the whole appeal of this series, as, well, actually part of the appeal of this series, and that is how, you know, he's basically dragged into all these situations, not by will, but just by pure chance and luck and misunderstanding. And I find that really, really funny, right? It's one thing to be a reluctant hero or a reluctant protagonist, but here it's like he's in a sense bringing it upon himself, but that's not really his true intentions, if you will. So that's sort of like a more interesting take on the situation for me. And of course, what else? Okay, so at the very end there, we also had a quick preview of actually the next arc. We got this, basically an otaku figure, and yes, that is how he actually is described in the original work as well. That's not a joke, and he's not an isekai anyway. Anyways, at least I don't believe he is. He's just simply exists, right? Like, this world is crazy, right? All the different characters have their crazy attributes and crazy traits and whatnot, crazy designs. This one is just par for the course for the entire thing, and he will become an important character later on. At least I believe so, right? But of course, we're not going to be able to see that, and I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. If you guys are interested, though, I've said this numerous times before, do check out the manga. The manga is drawn really, really good, and it really captures, I feel like, the true power and just the facial expressions of the characters makes a world of difference when they're describing some of these scenes, right? Like, for instance, Tahara, when we see the contrast between, laid back dude versus someone who can instantly kill, tens of thousands of people in a blink of an eye. You as well. Here she just looks like this Onesan, right? But in reality, she's also one who kills for absolutely no reason at all, and we are reminded of their former personalities. I can't even say former personalities. That's just who they are, right? It's just that here they've sort of mellowed out a little bit. And so we get these kinds of expressions. The Mao looks way more menacing than he does here. Here he looks basically just like a businessman of some sort, whereas originally he looks more like a mafia boss or something, right? And talks and speaks in that kind of manner. And of course, all the ladies are much more enticing, if you will. Although I guess, to be fair, Angel White is plenty enticing here as well. As is Luna, actually. Whereas Aku and Tron, I kind of like their designs in the manga more. But anyways, if you have since you're watching this episode, I'm assuming that you have a certain amount of interest in this series, right? And so if you already like this, just go read the manga. You would absolutely love this series even more. And if that is not enough to satisfy you, also consider reading the web novels, light novels, etc. as well. The web novels have been translated, fan translations. You can just Google it and search it up. And honestly, for me, right, I guess this is sort of like a conclusion to this. No, I read a fair amount of isekais. I read a fair amount of light novels. I'm not going to say I read like every single one out there, but it's been a while since I've actually encountered a work where just by the setting itself is enough to grab me, right? Because normally when I pick what kind of light novels to read, I don't actually go into them and how can you determine the story, right? It's not like I don't normally like read reviews from other people as to how good the story is or whatnot. I typically just look at the setting. If the setting interests me, then I will take a look and see if it's any good or not. And in this case, this particular series, if you will, this particular novel did entice me due to its fairly unique setting, I believe. I'm sure it's probably been done before as well, but using like an isekai within an isekai is largely compelling to me, right? The isekai within an isekai, you have this current situation, this current fantasy world that they're in, and then you also have this other Infinity game sort of isekai game thingy that features modern technology, modern weapons, of course a darker world and whatnot, and then you have this fantasy one where there's demons, there's vampires, there's dragons and whatnot, there's magic, and you have this sort of mix between these two, right? Now within the series, within what I've read so far, I have been following the web novel as well. We haven't really seen that much of a mix between these yet. I'm sure that further on down the line, we'll probably get into a situation where modern weaponry, guns, rifles, machine guns, maybe even rocket launchers and heaven forbid, tanks and whatnot, are going to be going up against magic, right? And really medieval-styled fantasy magic, as we've seen here. And then, like, come on, imagine like a vampire using some sort of blood magic ability, and then being hunted down by machine guns and sniper rifles or whatnot. Like, the possibilities are endless there, right? And especially since it also uses a sort of game setting as well, and so you got all these sort of meta discussion stuff that surrounds it. And I don't know, to be honest, it's not exactly particularly well written. Like, I'm not gonna say that the dialogue is anything to write home of, and so far it feels like it's jumping in a lot of places, right? I will give it that. The original story, I'm not really sure if the author has really laid out his plan and thought things through in regards to how he's going to go with this series, but I can see a ton of potential here, right? And of course, all the characters themselves being crazy in their own way is also infinitely appealing to me. And so that's why I like this series as a whole, and that's why I chose to watch this series in animation form, even though, you know, from the first episode, it's pretty obvious that it's kind of gonna suck, right? Like, let's be honest here. The animation, I've memed about it throughout all this, throughout all 12 episodes, and I'm sure there's nobody who can defend this. And, you know, even without talking about the animation, I'm still a little bit pissed at how they changed some certain, certain characteristics of the characters, you know, how they drew them. Even if you have bad animation, you can at least design them better, right? As well as skipping out on some key scenes which I feel are very important to the story, right? And honestly, it's, you know, it ended on sort of a weird note, right? It didn't really end on a high or anything. Like, literally, the last fight was like, what, 4 or 5 episodes ago? Although maybe a good thing since the animation quality is so poor, but still, I'm saying it definitely ended on a weird position, right? And that's because it ended directly at the end of a arc with the reveal of this misunderstanding of the Mao being Lucifer, the fallen angel. So, meh. But anyways, yeah, I guess all in all I'm saying is, if you like this, if you have any interest in this, I do highly recommend you to check the manga and the light novel web novel. You won't be disappointed if you have watched this so far. And if you don't like it, then, well, I guess you can, like, first of all, what are you doing? If you don't like it, why are you watching 12 episodes of it? But if you still believe that it's, you know, it looks generic or whatnot in some kind of way, again, I recommend you to just check it out a little bit more. There's the manga and the web novel actually aren't that far off from where this left off. This series has not been, like, there's not a ton of material already. I'd say the anime currently covers about, in terms of manga, perhaps, I don't know, like 80-90% of the manga, and in regards to web novel, maybe like I don't know, 70% maybe. So like really close. So just give that a look and see if you like it. And so there we go. That's, I guess, the conclusion for this series. If there's any of you guys who just came here looking for this series and happen to find my channel, do feel free to check out my other works as well. I typically do structure my videos in more of a theory crafting and discussion manner. It's just that in this case there isn't really that much to talk about. First of all, it's not blind for me. I've already seen it, read it before, and also because normally with isekais, I make a big focus on sort of learning about the mechanics, and, you know, all the different types of systems and rules that they have in place, and see if we can extrapolate any information as regards to how it's going to develop. In this case, however, like I said before, the author, I'm not really sure if he has a really coherent system in place. It really seems like he's just rewriting the rules as he goes along to fit whichever convenience that he has. So, I'm afraid not that much discussion there, but yeah, if you guys do like my content, feel free to check out my other works. So, and there we go. So that was Maou-sama Retry. Hope you guys enjoyed all this, and I shall see you guys hopefully next time. Bye bye.